Had your first scrimmage this past weekend. How things go?
Well, pretty exciting there from an offensive perspective. Over 600 yards of offense. I think we had about 83, 84 snaps, 8 touchdowns, 6 of them passing, 2 of them were rushing. Defense, I can maybe say 1 or 2 things were pretty good. They got 2 sacks and they did get 1 fumble. But I think outside of that, it was pretty dominant performance there by our offense. A lot of big plays there and stuff of that nature. If I say one person that probably stood out just overall over everything, is probably Frank Boyd. Running back there, he had 10 carries. I think he had about 68, 69 yards. But just the way he ran the football, ran through some tackles there several times during the scrimmage. So it was really a surprise. We thought we had it in him, but I wasn't maybe thinking I'm going to see it this early. If I had to say one guy that stood out, again, the offensive line did a fantastic job overall, too, from that perspective. So great job by the offensive staff, offensive players. But again, some days it's the offense, some days it's the defense. But it was a pretty dominant approach there as far as this past Saturday.
Speaking of the running backs, how's the rest of that room looking?
Hickson had a solid day. Had the ball on the ground there once or twice there, but had a solid game there as far as that goes. Unfortunately, Kentori Matthews had a little bump bruise there. He did not participate in the scrimmage. He'll be back practicing this week. So really, like I said, overall, Frankie did a good job there, and we really had Boyd did a fantastic job. I think the quarterbacks, they all played solid. All of them did some good things there. Buckshot had, I think, 2 or 3 touchdown passes. Mason Cunningham had a couple of touchdowns. I thought he did a good job on some progression for us, looking down on his second receiver, third receiver, that kind of thing. They looked very smooth in doing it. They didn't panic at sometimes, and really did some good things from that perspective. If I had to say overall on the defensive side, if I had to say a couple people that maybe did some things that maybe were good, and statistically you wouldn't notice it or anything of that nature, but I really would say Devin Pearson, Mitchell Hurtado, those guys there on the defensive line there, I thought they did some good things. Elijah Mitchell, when I say that, I'm saying saw them get off some blocks. They got a chance to, at the point of attack, didn't get knocked back off the ball, and then to show that they can shed, get off a block, and make a tackle. So those 2 or 3 guys, I thought they did a solid job, and they improved. That's when I want to say they did a solid job. I saw improve from last year, and that's all you can ask for. So we got to have those 2 or 3 guys, and more people too. But if I had to say one thing that was really, really good, as I spoke to the defensive staff, is really those 3 guys did some good things.
With 2 of the top 3 running backs from last year graduated, does Frank Boyd figure into that mix of the rotation with Hickson?
Well, we're still a long way before we make all those decisions, but I can sit here and say, like I mentioned, he was a guy that stood out. It was very, very, very pleasing to see him run as hard as he did, took care of the ball, and was a punishing runner, had good feet and good vision and all that. So he's going to be in the hunt. Again, we got a while before we name starters and all that stuff.
A lot of guys returning on offensive line. What have you seen so far out of that group?
Well, I think we should have a solid first group there. We're going to have Lozano at the left tackle right now. We're playing Crawford at the left guard. Sargent's at the center there, and again, the right guard and right tackle, all solid guys who have played there before. So we feel very solid. By now, it's just trying to say what's the 6, 7, 8 guys that we're going to end up playing. Schultz is right there at the tackle. Obviously, we don't have Isaacson in there at this point in time, but I think he'll be in the hunt. James Passmore is a guy who hadn't played a whole lot. He can probably play anywhere on the offensive line, and so we hope to count up on him where he can come in and do some great things there. And obviously Dante Duff is the staples of it all as far as that goes. So I like what Coach Stam is doing. I like the continuity that we're starting to have, and we're now just trying to get everybody a little better in their techniques, and then trying to find the 6th, 7th, and 8th guys, which that still be determined obviously way down the road.
Will the 6th, 7th, and 8th guys be determined come fall camp once you get some of these freshmen in, like a Henry Chibuzi, and see what he can do and make an impression in those first few weeks of summer camp?
Yeah, we're going to give everybody a chance. Obviously the toughest position on the field to really come in and start right away will probably be the offensive line. But we're going to give everybody an opportunity if they can learn what they can do. And they can do one thing great. What I mean by that is saying, well, if they can be a great run blocker, they may not be quite as good at the pass protection, but if they can do one thing really, really good, and can get a few much a playing time there, then we'll give them an opportunity as far as those true freshmen. So we do know that they kind of probably have the size. It's just a matter where they're going to be able to do things in the right way and making sure we can be able to move the football.
The wide receiving core, you're only losing Marquise Fitzgerald out of the top guys. And how's that group coming along? Is Lionel McConnell coming along after that injury he suffered in the season opener against Baylor?
Unfortunately, Lionel, he's not participating here right now. They're still holding him back. I would say he's not going to participate here in spring football practice, just to making sure that everything's all good to go. Obviously, if we had to say one way or the other, then kind of lean more towards it. I want him ready, hopefully in June, and then be ready to roll as far as when we come to the camp there in August. So he's unfortunately not able to participate. Everything is coming along good, but just want to making sure everything is all good with him as far as when he participates back with the group.
What have you seen out of the JUCO receiver, Shaw, so far?
Shaw, he had a touchdown pass, did a good job there. He's a guy who has good hands. It's been a very, very pleasant surprise, too, to catch up on all what we're doing. Still got a ways to go, but at least knows where to line up, knows most of his routes. The one thing, though, he has good hands. If we say one thing that he really, really does well, ball within his catching radius is pretty much going to be a catch. So it's great to see out of him. He needs to get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, and all that. But I'm very, very pleased he'll be impactful and for us to be able to help our team.
The tight end group played Fidel Bathan last year as a second string behind Zach Fouts, and you also have Jerome Jackson, who redshirted. How are those two coming along, especially with Chris Barnett coming in, this summer? About what that group's going to look like.
Fouts is unable to participate. He had some surgery there, so he's not going to be available. Unfortunately, Fidel's been on and off injury-wise there. He hadn't had a whole lot of reps, but we're very pleased with Jerome. He's getting a lot of reps, doing a lot of good things there, run blocking, being able to catch the ball there. He's not quite as smooth as we would want him to be. Again, he's only a redshirt freshman technically here. He's only been here really for 5-6 months. So I like to see what they're doing. We're intermingling the 2 or 3 different positions at the fullback spot. Bollinger, Mitchell Lewis, they're the tight end fullback, that kind of a combination. So we in having those guys that are rotating in, I like what they're doing. I like what they're seeing out of those guys. So I like what's going on. We're getting better each and every day, and that's all you can ask for at this point in time. Obviously want to see the improvement from the defense, hopefully here this next week.
Is there any timeline on Fouts?
Timeline, he won't do anything as far as in spring football practice. We anticipate him to be ready to go here in August.
Do you have a third quarterback behind Buckshot and Cunningham who's been shining, or have it been those two guys?
I'd say Landon Brown, right now is a clear-cut guy as far as that goes at that time. Again, we'll have, our guy Brandon Robinson that signed with us, a true freshman. He'll come in and be able to compete. He's not going to compete for the starting job as far as that goes, but, he'll come in and see what he can do. And we got some decisions to make a little bit as we move along with Cunningham and Buckshot there, Calvert there. They're in the same classification, whether we redshirt them, don't redshirt them, and all that kind of stuff. As far as Cunningham, as we move along, I think that's all going to depend on what's going on with Landon Brown, Brandon Robinson, coming in there and see how that all fits. So, again, we feel good about where we're at with the quarterback position. Unfortunately there, Rudd Yerk, he's still unfortunately have not been able to participate with his injury that he had, the shoulder injury that he has taken place. This kind of maybe being a little bit slower than we anticipated, but we just got to be precautioned with it, and hopefully he'll be ready to go there in August.
Have you been pleased with Buckshot's progress this spring?
Yeah, Buckshot's doing a great job there. I like his command of what he's doing with the players and the teammates, talking to them a little bit more detail about what they need to be doing, whether it's the offensive line, the receivers, running backs, and all those kind of things. We want to increase him into being more vocal with the players and what they need to do, how they need to do it. They hearing it from him. Obviously, they're going to hear from us as coaches, but we want him to kind of take it over a little bit more. He's now been in the system full 2 years. I'm no question he understands it a whole lot better, and so we want him to get more integrated into teaching them what to do and how to do it in his own way.